YouTube, so I'm back here with another video, and today we're talking about Arcane Gems, the new wish system that came out yesterday in the game. And of recording of this video here, it is Friday, and we have had the Spire of Fate as well. We will be doing a video on that later on, but today in this video it's just all about the Arcane Gems. And first of all, I want to do a shout out to Gandolf. If you want to see a tier list on like his opinion on the Arcane Gems, the epic ones, the blue ones and the legendary ones, I'll leave a link to his video in my description down below, and you can go and watch that after you've watched my video, okay? Because I will only be going through the legendary ones today, because that is what I think is the most important, especially when Gandalf has already done the purple and blue ones. So you can go check that video out so we don't do the same kind of content. Anyways, we have two wishing systems here in the new alchemy wishing pool, or whatever we should call it. We will find a name for it, I guess. We have the eternal alchemy and we have the mystic alchemy places where we can pull some shards, right? And first of all, you need to be careful about some things here that you need to note about, and just be mindful about it, just so you know. And that is that on this one here, which I prefer to call the permanent or the normal banner, the eternal alchemy one, if you go and look at the instructions here, it actually says here that during the event the rate of drawing specified Arcane Gems increases. The event bonus cannot be enjoyed anymore once the specified Arcane Gems are obtained for a certain number of times. And for this session here, the special ones are these two here, so the Glory of Judgment and the Divine Healing Spirit. They will have a bigger chance of being pulled, so the chances of you getting these two here are higher. What you also need to be mindful about is that not all of the Arcane Gems, the legendary Arcane Gems, sorry, is in this Eternal Alchemy pool. You only have these here so far. It's 6 of these here. So what that means is that you cannot get the bleed passive one or the good one for Mooringing and stuff like that. You cannot get that from the Eternal Alchemy. You'll have to get it from the Mystic Alchemy. And the ones I'm talking about is these 4 down here in the bottom. The Lazuli of Sky Fire, which is good for burn. The Guardian of Promise, which looks perfect for Mooringing. The Amber of Eternity, which looks very nice for Sun Wukong. And the Heart-rending Blood Amber, which is super good for lands and Morikis. And like bleed types, these 4 down here you can only get this week here from the Mystic Alchemy. And why do I say this week here? It is because if you go and look at the instructions here, what it says is that, what was it? Yeah, it's over here at the Arcane Gems of the session. If you look in the bottom here, it says the exclusive Arcane Gems in the Mystic Alchemy will be added to the Eternal Alchemy in the next session. So basically, for this session here, we have these. How many do we have? 2, 4, 6, 8 Arcane Gems, and for the next, like in 5 days, this one is going away. And how I interpret, I can't pronounce it, how I see this is that that these 8 here will then be moved to this pool here. So I think instead of 6 here, you will have those 8 that you have on the other page, and those will be on the Eternal Alchemy one. So if you really want to get these 4 down here, what you could do is try to pull for them from the Mystic Alchemy this week here, or this weekend here, and then in 5 days when all of these here move to the Eternal Alchemy one, you can use all your Eternal Alchemy stones to then try and get those, because they will be added to this session here. Just like when we have the new Miracle Heroes, they also get added to the normal Supreme and Excellent Wish pool after 14 days or something like that, right? So it's the same system, just with these Arcane Gems. So you could, if you really want to, you should probably just be mindful about it, that you don't blow all of your Eternal Alchemy stones or cubes, or what is called Eternal Stones, because you will be able to get these 4 down here from the Eternal Alchemy in 5 days, okay? So that is how I read it anyways. Let me know in the comments down below if you figure it out differently. So yeah, you have the increased effect there. For me personally, I've just set the bleed one as my target Arcane Gem. The reason for that is pretty obvious. It is super good, it's a passive, and it works for my lands and it works for my Morikis. So my mind behind this is actually that both lands and Morikis can use this one at 0 stars, so it should be pretty easy to get at least one of these here for both of them. And because at 0 star you get the 15% affected, you get 12% bleed damage, and you get 12% mastery. And if you have it on both lands and Morikis, well, there's no downsides to it, right? It's a passive buff, so it's just a positive thing. It cannot ruin anything. So why not? Why not put a 0 star on both of them? That gives them mastery, bleed damage, and affected. I mean, if that was on gear or was a blessing, you would take it any day, right? So why not? It's a passive stat effect. Get it on both your lands and your Morikis. That is what I'm doing anyways. But let's just talk about these Arcane Gems here real quickly in a like in an order here, just to talk about the legendary ones. Which one do we think are good and what can we use them for? Now the first one is the Glory of Judgment. It has an increased rate at the moment in the Eternal Alchemy Stone Wish pool thing. So this one is more likely for you to actually get this one. I do not like this one here. I think the first 5 or so stars are pretty... It's not good because it's an active skill. It's a 5-turn cooldown. That is a lot in itself, right? But it also says that the owner enters surge status for 1 turn, doing which increases self-crit damage by 30% and direct damage by 10%. Now, by itself, it is sounding very good. A lot of crit damage, a lot of direct damage, very nice. But the downside is that you waste 1 turn to buff this here, because it doesn't do any damage immediately. It's just a buff, and then you have to wait for your next turn to be able to benefit from this one here, right? So imagine you have Marie, and you start out with this ability here. Now you have to wait until you get your turn again before you can use your S4 into your S2 and go from that, right? So I don't really like this one, but I like it when we get further up here. Then you get the attack buff, which is also very good, but it's still the same. You still have to wait a turn before you can actually benefit from the ability, so you're just wasting a turn really to start with, right? But this one is good. It could be used in support, I guess, for the attack up buff, where it doesn't really... Maybe you have some support that where you can use this attack up buff on them, would be very nice, and then you just waste the crit damage and the direct damage, maybe, I don't know. But if you look at the... When we get down here and you get the 5 and 6 and 7 star, when you get to the 7 star, it is very, very interesting, because then you get 100% turn meter, and then it starts to become very interesting, because then you use the surge buff, you get 120% crit damage, which is huge, 40% direct damage, which is also huge, attack up buff for yourself, like put this on Marie, for example. She doesn't have attack buff, so she'll be buffing herself, and it works for 2 turns. Which is crazy, right? And also you get 100% turn meter, so you get your turn again. So unless that the enemy has an Apsara on the team, then you don't get your turn meter, obviously, but because of the echo. But if they don't have that, then you get your turn. So you can chain this one into your own ability with someone like Marie, who's already super strong. So in PvP, you'll start out with this surge buff on yourself, then you start out with S4, S2, and everyone is dead, because it's going to hurt, so everyone will be dead, right? And you'll even get a reset of the cooldown on the skill and 80% turn meter when you kill someone. So, and there is a high chance that you will kill someone with your Marie or your Jingle Bell, or your Melchior. If you don't have Marie or you don't have Jingle Bell, use this one on Melchior, 7 star. I mean, he gets his turn, he nukes. Most people just build him with crit damage anyways. And yeah, you have the attack buff for yourself, all of that good stuff there. It is, yeah, it's super good at 7 stars, but that is a lot of stuff you have to put into it, right? A lot of effort to get that one. So I don't really like that one. I like it when it gets to top, but I don't like it when it's not done. Then we have the Guardian of Promise, and this one I like. I'm a much bigger fan of this one here. It's a passive skill, which is good. Don't have to worry about anything ruining your rotation or whatever. It's just a straight up like a HP healing on yourself every time you get an attribute buff, so you can pretty much put them on everyone, I guess, as long as you have some attribute buffs in your team or in your setup. And once you get down here to 3 stars, which I don't know how hard that is to get 3 stars here, but the thing is that with all of these here, you get 2 of the stars for free. If you have exclusive 4 and exclusive 5 on your heroes, then you get 2 of these stars here for free. So imagine you have Moringing exclusive 5 and you just pull like 2 copies of this one, so it's 1 star, then you get 2 stars for free, and now it's a 3 star, okay? And from 3 star and up, it's actually going to give you defense up 2 buff for 2 turns with a 1 turn cooldown when you take direct damage, which means that if you keep taking direct damage, you'll have a permanent uptime of this defense up buff, because it's only 1 turn cooldown, but it's up for 2 turns, so it's going to be a permanent thing unless it gets cleansed or buff stripped, right? It's very nice for Moringing also in PvE and PvP, because he'll buff himself with 60% defense as well, which is yeah, giving him a lot of damage increase there, and it just becomes better. You also get the master rest buff, and you get some turn meter and stuff like that when we get there. And then at the end, if the owner is a defense class, he also gets the sacred protection on everyone at the beginning of the wave. When taking fatal damage, the owner consumes 1 layer of the sacred protection and is immune to the death. Meanwhile, against immortal, and the owner's turn meter cannot be reduced. So you're pretty much not able to die at the first turn, which is very good against the cleave teams or anyone that tries to kill you in the first turn, right? Super nice. I would put this one on Moringing if I had this one, for sure. Now let's just go quickly towards the next one here, Divine Healing. It is a 5 turn cooldown ability, 11% healing effect, 14, 17, and then you also get the block removal for 2 turns, which is very good, 1 layer. Very strong in PvP. And at 5 stars here, you can get 2 layers of block removal and a bit of turn meters. If you are the highest speed among all allies, then you get another turn meter, right? So I think for this one here and at max, it also gives me, yeah, just more turn meter basically, and more block revival and stuff like that. A block revival from the block removal, sorry, from the beginning of the wave, right? If you are the one with the high speed. So for this one, I mean, from an end game perspective, I would say that this one has Apsara written all over it, because you get a healing effect, which is, well, it's okay. But then later on, if you because she want Apsara to be the fastest on your team anyways, right? Or have the highest amount of speed. So this one actually synergizes very well with her, because you're going for the speed anyway. So at max stars, you will get like 30% extra turn meter for your team. So you can start with the S4 and then do the S2 and then do this ability or whatever, or maybe this one. Yeah, so you're going to get a lot of turn meter for the team in both PvE and PvP. And with this one here, for sure you will hit the 300 turn cap in PvE on bosses, that is for sure. So I think this one is very good. It can also be used like just an additional heal at 0 stars. You can put it on everyone basically that you don't want to do damage. So any of your support that maybe sometimes have to use their like, what's it called, like a basic skill, you can use this. All right, so let's move on here. Next one is the Ruby of Thorns. This one is interesting. It's a poison damage. It actually starts out by just being normal damage, and then when you get to 3 star, it converts itself into poison damage. So then it says that it's considered as poison damage at 3 stars and above. So before 3 stars, it's just a normal attack, and then it becomes a poison which ignores defense and stuff like that. So it becomes pretty decent here, but 5 turn cooldown for 160%. I know it's a 2 stage of damage, and poison is very strong, but we've seen better abilities, right? And also 5 turn cooldowns is just a lot, but you also get the poison buff here for 2 turns at 5 stars, which is very good. And later on it becomes, yeah, it gives you speed down, and it has a chance to do freeze as well if the enemies are lower than you, and if they're not, then you do the speed down. So it's pretty good. And I think on someone like, maybe, I don't know if you would put this on yourself actually, because Giselle is already just spamming her S4 basically, so you'll probably never have any like time to use this one here. So you'll probably be looking at putting it on someone else, maybe like, well, Mikado already have the buff, so I don't know who you would put this on. You could put it on maybe Willa. Oh no, she already has the speed down. Yeah, I don't know about this one here. Giselle is probably the best one to use it on, but once again, you have this S4 and S2 already doing a lot of damage, so you probably don't need this one here. So not too sure who you'd put this one on. Let me know in the comments down below if you have any ideas. But I like this one here. In general, it's very good. Now, let's move on to the Amber of Eternity. I like this one a lot. Grants all allies immortal shield by 30% of the max owner's HP. It's 5-turn cooldown, but it's very nice to have this one from the beginning of the battle. Later on, the shield cannot be stolen at 3 stars. And then we also get the damage immunity at 5 stars, which is huge. And then just some cooldown reduction, and then in the end it will do the 60% shield from the beginning of the battle. So what I'm assuming for this one here, I would put this one on Sun Wukong, for endgame that is. I'd put this on Sun Wukong, because he would just be, like a beast with his shielding, right? He's gonna have his own shield, he's gonna have this immortal shield here, he's gonna do damage immunity for everyone. And he'll be buffing with like a double shield from the beginning. So he's really going to protect your heroes, right? Like your lands or whatever. And the immortal shield cannot be stolen or removed. And I think his own shield cannot be removed or stolen either. So I think this one is a very nice way of mitigating a lot of damage. Also with the damage immunity against people that don't steal your buff, right? So something like Sun Wukong would be very nice to put this on. You could even put it on someone like Hanya, or anyone basically with high HP. Maybe even Reyna could be nice. Reyna could be nice as well. I think that could be good as well. So someone that has a lot of HP, you can put this on. Now let's move on to the Lazuli of Sky Fire. Now this one is very good for burn. It basically just like puts a buff up that makes burn damage do more damage after a few turns. I think it looks okay. It's a passive, so it looks very good. I prefer the passives because they do not like require any activeness on, like, it's just a passive thing, right? So it's very nice. It's like having another exclusive basically from the passive ones here. At the beginning of the owner's turn, grants all allies 1 layer of Spirit Flame, will be converted to Celestial Inferno, which is giving you burn damage still by 2% up to 10 layers. So yeah, it's for all allies at the beginning of the owner's turn, so you should probably put this one on someone like O'Grady's or some of the other like support heroes that you're using for burn. You know what, this one could actually be super good for someone like Sultra, who I think has a lot of endgame potential as well. You would be using Sultra a lot, so you could use this one on her because it's a passive, and you want to build her with speed anyway, so she's going to be fast. And yeah, then she's gonna put this one on for your other damage dealer. We don't have a lot of burn damage dealers in the game. We just have Chelsea basically, and Little Jack if you build him with both mastery and crit damage. But Chelsea is the best burn damage hero we have in the game at the moment. So it would mostly be to boost her damage, I guess. So yeah, it's very nice. Let's see what it does at max stars. Actually, I haven't seen. Yeah, so now it gives, okay, it also gives some skill damage. So maybe you want to put it onto Chelsea actually, because then you get the benefit of the skill damage by yourself. And yeah, I would put this one on Chelsea actually. Reclaims the Inferno and copies them to all others. This one, that's very good. I haven't read this one, sorry guys. It's the first time I read this one here. At the beginning of the owner's turn, reclaims the newly converted assassin. Okay, I think this one is good. I would put this one on Chelsea actually, because of the skill damage is very nice. So you can have up to 20 layers of 1.5 skill damage, so that is going to be 35% skill damage, so that's a lot. Now let's see, we have looked at already this one here. So the Crimson Glint here, I think this one also has a high chance of being pulled, so let's talk about this one quickly. This one is super strong. Yeah, it's a 5-turn cooldown, but it is 2 stages of 300% damage, and it goes up to 400%. This one is super strong at 0 stars, let's be honest here. If you have any damage dealers that don't have any high multipliers, you can put this one on them. 600% or even up to 800% of attack damage from the owner is super good. I don't know if this one can crit though, but if it can crit, then it's very nice, right? It is a direct damage. It's not going to ignore defense though, so you just have to be mindful of that. And here it goes up on bosses at 3 stars. It goes up, so you do even more damage. And what do we do? Then we get the bloodshed here, which also gives you more direct damage still. So I think this one here ties up with the Surge one. I would probably, yeah, I would prefer the Surge. The one that we had, this one here was called Glorious Judgment. This one here, I would prefer this one for PvP for Marie. But for PvE, I think this one also has some potential because of all the direct damage and stuff. But you don't get the double turn here, you don't get the 100% turn meter. That is why I prefer the other one for PvP. But this one, if you look at the last one, it's going to ignore defense, caps at 400% of its owner's attack at 7 stars. It is very, very strong, this one here for sure. And the multipliers are crazy good. So definitely a top tier one. And then we have my favorite one here. This one is the one I like the most at the moment. It's the bleed one. There's a few reasons why I love this one here. One of them is that it can be used on Lance and Morikis and other bleed damage heroes, obviously. It doesn't have to be attack based one, so even if you only have an arc or something like that, you can still put this onto him, and he will also benefit from this one if he is your primary bleed damage dealer, right? So that's very nice. I like this one here. It's passive and all that, and it gives effective bleed damage and mastery. And then later on, you also get some extra attack. So by 3 stars and up, obviously you would want to put it onto an attack-based hero instead of Narc or someone like that. Chardonnay doesn't really do any damage, but Narc does do a lot of damage, right? But even if you only have like Alicia or even Nidrolled, then I think this one here could be super good on them. Because it, well, 12% bleed damage, 12% mastery, 15% affected. And these layers here will be stacked very quickly because it's every time an ally launches basic attack or cast skills that deal damage. So those 18 layers there, they're going to be super quick to stack in PvE. It's not a problem. And I think later on, what does it also do? Yeah, it also starts to cleanse some debuffs from yourself, which is very good. And then it just takes less layers. And then it's a wall of text here in the end here, but it also gives 40% turn meter each time you get the Raging Blood here. So at 4 layers, 8 layers, 12 layers, so 3 times you'll be boosted by 40% turn meter, which is very, very strong, right? And then you can actually use it in PvP because 4 is not a lot. Just means that 4 other heroes have to do like some extra damage or basic attack or whatever, right? And maybe Hanya can even make it do like go faster because everyone is doing the basic attack when she pursues attacks. But I don't know. But here at the max stars, it gives 30% affected, 21% bleed damage, and 24% mastery with 1.4% attack times 18. So I don't know how much that is, but it's a lot. It's a lot of attack, right? I like this one here. It's easy to use on people. It's a passive, very nice. That is my preferred one. And then we have the Godly Spirit Pearl. And this one is like an auto shielding, like the Reyna ability or the Wim ability. It's also a passive skill. It has a 3-turn cooldown though, even though it's passive. So you just have to be mindful about that. But 30%, 40%, 50% is very nice. And then also more healing. So this one you would put, this one is very, very good for free to play. Very, very good because this one can be used in every content, like 3 turns cooldown, okay, but it is the first hero ally that goes below 30%, that's where you're going to put a shield on, right? So you can basically put this one here onto a lot of your support heroes or whatever in PvP, and they can all proc this one here. Don't think they'll proc it at the same time, but they're going to be proccing it one at a time, right? So it's very nice. And then, yeah, then you're also gonna give some shielding and stuff like that. Also, damage immunity each time the skill is triggered. And the turn meter of the ally cannot be reduced. Very, very strong. Then we have the Jade of Abyss Dragon. Also very nice. 5 turn cooldown is a lot though, I think, especially when you want to have the attack down debuff, like on bosses and stuff like that. 5 turn cooldown is just too much, because you cannot keep the buff up. Especially early game and mid game, you won't be able to rely on this ability here to keep this buff up. But 200% damage is pretty good. And then later on you also get this intertwined buff, which is after I think 1 turn, 2 turns, then you are going to get stunned, if I remember correctly. So that's very nice, but that's only if you apply the attack down debuff. Then you also remove some buffs, and in the end here, it also puts a block buff onto people. So very strong as well, very strong as well. So yeah, guys, there you have it. There you have the new gems here. I just want to show you one last thing here that I saw somewhere. Let me see where it was. Just one moment. Okay guys, so I'm back here. I cannot find it. I swear yesterday, somewhere in game here, in the menu somewhere, I found a place where it told me that you have to be mindful about some stuff here. And that is, for example, like this ability here, when it says that it deals 260% of the owner's attack damage. If you put it onto Moringing, they use Moringing as the example, but I cannot find the info anyways, where I think maybe it was up here or something like that. But it just said that you have to be mindful, because putting this one onto Moringing, for example, who scales with defense, this ability is not going to scale off of, like, it wouldn't really work on him, right? Because he's not an attack-based hero, he's defense-based. So just have to be mindful about that when the Arcane Gem has some multiplier that is going off of like attack, then that means attack, and it's not going to, like, let's say you have an HP based on defense based hero, it's not going to do the damage based on that primary stat. It's still going to take the attack stat into consideration, okay? But I cannot find where it said. It just said it down here somewhere with the Moringing. But this UI here, so I mean, like, honestly, no idea where it went, the information. But anyways, guys, that was it. A long video. Hope you get everything you wish for, and I wish you a very nice evening. Cheers. Bye.